Good afternoon. We're here with Jill Douglas, who is running for Nevada Senate Seat 6. And I'm Vince Palmieri, President of the Asian Pacific Community Awareness. And we're here to find out why Jill wants to run and what she's going to do to make Nevada a better place to live. Jill, introduce yourself, please.
All right. Well, thank you, Vince, for this opportunity. First, let me tell you that I am the daughter of an Air Force veteran.
Wow.
My father-in-law was Navy. My husband was Air Force. I have a son who's currently active duty, so I'm very proud that I'm a Blue Star mother. I know that there's a lot of needs within the veteran community, and there could not be a stronger advocate. I know what it's like when veterans struggle to get medical appointments, when they struggle to get the care that they need. We need more counseling. We need more mental health. We need the specific needs of veterans need to be addressed, and I'm in your corner. So we'll start with that. I'm originally from Florida, though I've lived here for 30 years. I came here as a result of my husband's military assignment. Fell in love with the community. We've raised our 4 children here, and I'm a mother of 4 sons and a grandmother of 8. And I really care. I care about our country, and I fell in love with this state. This state afforded me the great opportunity of opening my own business. I understand the concerns and needs of business owners, and I had an opportunity to have a great career. A few years back, I became more and more passionate about how politics and the decisions that our legislatures made affected the lives of everyday Nevadans. Yes. And I think the majority of Nevadans align with a viewpoint of we believe limited government. Government right now is out of control. And when we saw what the government did in shutting down our businesses and shutting down our church and interfering with our health care, that's not okay. We need, government has a role, but it needs to be limited. I believe in personal liberties. I believe in free markets. A couple of really hot topic issues for me right now, in addition to the needs of our seniors who are dealing with inflation and their fixed incomes. I'm very concerned that crime has increased. Crime has increased as a direct result of policies being made in Carson City. Those policies have lessened the threshold on theft, and we see that criminals are being let out with no bail, and our communities have become less safe. One of the very first things I would do when elected is to remove that higher threshold, lower it again. I was in a CVS. I saw a person walk out with an armful of things, and the store clerk was upset. She said, "This store is going to close. I'm going to lose my job." We can't allow that. A strong community is a safe community. In addition to that, a strong community has a good educational system. And I think we all have to agree that our educational system is failing our children. The other thing I was very, very involved in during the last legislative cycle was the support for the school choice scholarships. Our children need to be able to have the best education, an education that focuses on their learning, that prepares them for a future, whether that future is college, whether that future is the military, whether that future is owning their own business or construction, whatever. We must invest in our children. I think it was absolutely unbelievable that our legislature turned their back on the educational needs of our children.
So as a senator, what would you do to rectify this problem?
Well, I think we have to go back and we have to say, first of all, opportunity scholarships have to be funded. We have to, one of the things that makes for strong business is competition.
May I interrupt you for a while?
Yes, you may.
Because I'm not sure some of our viewers would know what is an opportunity scholarship.
Okay. An opportunity scholarship is a scholarship that's given to more low-income children, so their parents can choose the schools that are going to be best for their child. So if that's a public school, that's fine, but what we find is that public schools are often not meeting the needs of particular segments of our society and the certain learning needs of children. And so opportunity scholarships allow parents to seek out and choose a school that is going to be best for their child in the way that their child learns. Not all children are the same. Not all children learn the same.
I agree, and that's why I never believed in universal testing system for all of America,
Right.
because everybody is different. But you touched on something that I want to bring up, because as a veteran and a former business owner, and you're a businesswoman, what would you do to help veterans open a business here in this state? Because now it's getting more expensive and a lot of red tape to open a business. What would you do to help veterans open a business and make it easier?
You know, one of my starting points is I think legislators need to recognize, first of all, they don't know everything about everything. So what do? You go to those people that do know, and you create a roundtable discussions. So if there's a need that is pertaining to veterans, I am going to bring veterans together, and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to say, let's talk. What are your concerns? What are your needs? How do we best address those needs? And I think we need to get creative. You know, is it tax credits? What incentives? How can we take their experience in the military and remove some barriers to be able to transition those experiences into, you know, the corporate world? And those skill sets are valuable skill sets.
Yes.
And we need to do what we can do to create a better transition. But I'm very interested in creating like a citizens coalition where I bring people together across the board. Most of the issues that we face in Nevada aren't necessarily partisan issues, but our state legislature has turned them into partisan issues. And we need to get back to what is in the best interest of our children, what is in the best interest of our veterans, what is in the best interest of our business owners, what is in the best interest of our senior citizens.
And those are nonpartisan issues.
Those are nonpartisan issues.
And I don't see why people can't cross the aisle to support
That's correct.
These issues. I know you have a difficult fight ahead of you, and you picked probably one of the most difficult races to run in. Why did you do that, and why do you think you can beat Nicole?
Correct. Yeah, it just so happens I ended up living in Senate 6, you know. I have for 30 years. You know what? I've become more and more and more involved over the last 8 years. And I've started tracking what was happening at the legislature. I started reading the bills, following the bills. And especially this last legislative cycle, I gave testimony. I was at the Grant Sawyer building. I watched our legislatures, and I was appalled. I was appalled at their arrogance. I was appalled that during testimony, they would be on their phones, they would be on their computers, they would walk out of the room. I was appalled during AB 400, which was the school choice bill, when the room was full of children, and children that were experiencing government. And shamefully, those children's voices were ignored. These children came to participate in a process over a bill that was going to impact them. They had their notes prepared. They wanted to speak. They wanted to let their voice be heard, and their voice was ignored. And that was when I said, you know what, Jill, it is time. It is time to, instead of just sitting back, you have to do something. Those children deserve to have their voice heard. Nevadans deserve to have their voice heard. We have to bring common sense back to our legislature, because they are lacking common sense and they are ignoring the voice of the voters.
I agree with you 100%. In closing, what message would you like to give to our viewers?
The message I would like to give is, yes, I know this is going to be a hard race, but this is a very winnable race. Nicole Canizaro's voting record speaks for itself, and what it should say to every Nevadan is that she's extremely partisan, and that she has not voted in line with what Nevadans want. She has prevented bills from even being heard that Nevadans support. Something as simple as voter ID. Overwhelmingly, 70 to 80% of Nevadans think that presenting an ID to vote is a good idea. It was deserving of public debate and public discussion, and she wouldn't even let that bill be heard. We have to come together and say, that's not what we want in a state legislature. You know, we want somebody that is going to listen to all of us, that is going to allow for debate, that is going to support limited role of government in our life, that is going to allow us to have personal liberties, that is going to support a strong educational system. She ran on an educational platform, yet over the last 8 years, she has turned her back to every child and the educational system in the state of Nevada. And we have to stand together and say enough is enough.
Yes.
And the way we do that is to say, you're fired.
That's great. Jill, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us and letting our viewers know who you are. And we'd like to wish you good luck. But before we go, I personally want to thank you. Jill is also the president of the Battle-Born Republican Women, and they are very veteran-oriented, and every year they have honored many veterans. Please keep up that work and supporting veterans, and God bless
I'm glad you mentioned that, because a couple of my passions are the Wreaths Across America project, supporting our Purple Heart veterans, and plugging in with different veteran organizations the best that we can.
Thank you, Jill.
Thank you, Vince.